Oh, hello everyone. Oh, my voice is probably quite a bit louder than the music was. Sorry. Anyway, we're here though. Oh wow, my mic is one moment, this might be loud. My mic is pointing way over there. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Chat. There we go.
We got some audio issues.
Oh, we do have some audio issues, don't we? All right. One moment. Okay. Did that do it? I think that did it. Wow, that sure does not look like we're in mono mode. Can you check that mono checkbox, hon?
Let's check.
Close and reopen the advanced audio settings. Something's amiss. Something's not right. There we go. Okay, so what happened there is that OBS lied to us. I had checked the mono box, but did not, in fact, apply the setting. I guess because we were in studio mode. Good,
Yeah.
good times and great food
Yeah.
here at Spencer's. Anyway, okay. Anyway, I'm definitely still left Gravis, just different. Yeah, I did not realize that apparently studio mode in OBS, which if you're not familiar, studio mode basically, when you hit studio mode, it splits off a copy of your entire environment and lets you work in that. And then when you hit transition, it moves the changes you made over to the live actual production environment. Well, if you never hit transition, then it never copies those settings over. Well, I had been, for some reason, under the impression that the mixer settings were not part of that. That I could go to studio mode, edit the mixer settings, close studio mode, and then transition scenes, and it would be fine. But it turns out that's not how that works. Who knew? So now I know. Anyway, so what we've done, what we're doing today, or sorry, I'm doing saying two different things at once. What I've done since the last stream is I've gone home and I have, let's just get this guy out here. I have healed this motherboard, one hopes. So we can't be sure, but there is a good possibility that what went wrong with the last stream was that the motherboard I was using, this guy here in the big boy, was unwell. The capacitors on it were going, and let's just take a look here. So this is the board in question. This is a Pentium 3, and I've recapped it. It had a whole bunch of blown caps, so you can see that now I went ahead and just replaced all of these ones up here. Focus. Focus. Bud. There we go. So I've replaced all the caps up there, as well as this one. Not that one, because I ran out of caps, but I put this on an ESR meter, a crappy one, but all the same, and it came up with very little loss, and it said it was 1100 microfarads, so I decided that one can stay. Also, it looks like it's probably relevant to the ISA bus primarily, so I'm going to go ahead and ignore those, at least for the moment anyway. And then we've got one more down here. So hopefully that's going to be sufficient to solve the problem. I ran this, I ran a memtest 86, let that go for like half an hour, so it did all tests, no problems. And then I loaded up Knoppix on it. It loaded that fine. And then I decided to install Corel Linux because I had that laying there and I had a spare hard drive. And that went fine. You know, I ran a whole bunch of programs that came with Corel, no problems. So I'm pretty positive that, you know, nothing went wrong here. The solder job, I don't know. Like, it looks like shit. What do you want me to tell you? Can I even tell? Where even are... Let's see, where would that be? You can see there's all the schmutz. See, some of the contacts are under there. And yeah, I don't know. I probably did a bad job, is the thing of it. I'm not a very good solderer. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and reinstall this board in the machine. And then, obviously, like Windows NT is corrupted, so we're going to go ahead and take that from the top. So we're going to do a full reinstall on that. And then this board here is hopefully going to help us with the OS2 situation. Last time, if you weren't here, we got OS2 installed after quite some tedium, but then it wouldn't boot. Just wouldn't boot. So I came to the conclusion that it was probably some sort of hardware incompatibility with the machine, which is not terribly uncommon with OS2. It is a fragile piece of shit. This is just another board. I'm hoping it's different than the one that was in the other little baby AT machine. I don't really know. It might be the exact same board for all I know. It certainly has some similarities. It's got the dual ATX power. It's got onboard video, so there's a possibility this is pretty much the same damn board and we'll have the same damn problems. But, you know, it's also possible that board is damaged or something like that. So we'll just roll the dice on that one, see if we get a better outcome. So that's going to be later. First off, we have to rebuild this machine. And why are we OS2ing? You know, that's going to be a nice treat if and when I ever finish getting the OS2 machine working. You'll get to finally find out why the hell we're doing all that. But it actually it comes down to I have a piece of hardware for a very wacky product that will only work in OS2. So there weren't a whole lot of those, so I figured this sort of justifies itself as a task. But yeah, we're doing it because we have no choice if I'm going to show off this particular hardware. So let me put that there, and let's go ahead and start putting this motherboard back in. All right. I need to work on more options for my overhead because this obviously doesn't work all that well. But whatever. I think we'll survive. Ooh, that's surprisingly tight confines in this case here, given how big the case is. There. What? There we go. Huh. Do I just have this like way off base here? Probably. There we go. Oh, okay. Some of these standoffs are really not in at all. All right, good enough. There we go. Okay. And as we're putting this back together, I'll go ahead and talk about some of the components and pieces and parts. Let's see. It looks like the motherboard standoffs are all fine thread, which I think is not universal. Oh. Oh, no. Okay, I thought this standoff was missing, but motherboard's just riding up real high, so there might be something pinched underneath it. Let's see. Did the ATX connector end up under there? Nope, that seems fine. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in now, just so we're not fighting with it later. Wow. Again, it's kind of peculiar how taut things are in here, given what a huge case this is. You'd think this would give you lots of breathing room, but it really doesn't. There we go. Alright, that's in. Yeah, the ceiling in here is really, really tall, so we can't really mount anything directly to it. The rafters are just up there, way up there. And it's been kind of a bummer about this studio. Like, as much as I like it, unfortunately, it's not like working in a normal house or a basement or anything where you've got, you know, direct access to the bones of the structure. You know, here we certainly have some. You know, there's we can attach stuff to the walls. We've got some big wooden beams that we can screw things to. But generally speaking, the ceiling is off limits because it's just way up there. So, surprisingly inconvenient. Like, if I had my druthers, I would have a pipe grid in here, like a real studio, you know. And we would have a grid of lights and microphones and all sorts of stuff overhead. But, no bueno. Wow, this motherboard is, like, not very well supported. What the hell? I didn't drop any standoffs, did I, when I took this thing apart? I don't remember that. But it sure looks like there should be more. Okay, there's one. One down there. And I only have one more standoff screw. Oh, and I see where that goes. So, apparently, this chassis just doesn't... Yeah, this chassis is just lacking some of the... Whoops! Some of the ATX attachment points. Oh, there we go. Well, there's one up here that I didn't get. Which actually means I'm short a screw. How did that happen? They should all be right here, but apparently not. So I must have dropped one, or there was one that wasn't in there. All right, whatever. Okay, so that's our board, and then I think the first thing we should do is probably hook up these SCSI cables, because they go right up top here. We don't need to mess with the RAM or anything. CPU is hooked up, so let's go ahead and connect SCSI 50. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, and then SCSI 68, which I think we flip over like that. Yeah. Okay. I'll plug that in there. I actually have a SCSI 68 pin drive, so we can potentially use that. Oh, and then this is the other SCSI chain. Okay, that. Oh, right. There's one that goes out the back, and then there's one that goes to the far side where the drive bays are. All right, so we'll take care of that. Now we need to handle our IDE connection, which is going to be, oh, we do the floppy drive first. That goes underneath. Yeah. Right? No. We do the IDE first. The floppy goes over it. Cable management was essentially impossible in these days. The cables were so nasty. Now, God willing, I think I'm actually just going to leave this out and not reinstall the IDE controller because I think, pardon me, let me think, what am I saying here? Oh, right. So I brought a SCSI drive. It's not super ideal. It turns out they're a little harder to get than the last time I checked. So the IDE drive would work fine. It's just that one, it's you know not what's supposed to be in here. It's not what the spiritual energy of the machine desires. But secondly, and more importantly, I don't want to put the Promise 100 controller in here. I don't entirely trust it to not have caused the problem that I had the last time. So I figure it's this is as good a time as any to just get rid of that. Also, in case you weren't here last time, The graphics card we're using is called an Elsa Gloria Synergy, and it is a 3D Labs Permedia 2 3D accelerator with Vivo functionality, video in and video out here on the end. And this primarily just acts as a normal graphics card for us. I'm not really sure how to use these features. I really want to look into that later, but this was, I think, actually part of a machine that was originally built to run the exact same hardware that this machine was built to run. So although this didn't come in this machine, it came from another machine that was being used for the same purpose. So this really is spiritually appropriate. So it is AGP, which was contemporary at this point. So let's get that guy in there. Okay. Where are other cards? I think for the outset, what we're going to do is we're going to skip some of these other cards that were in here. There was this guy, for instance, and he is, I think, an MPEG or an MJPEG encoder or something like that, but I'm positive this was not part of the original system. Well, you know, actually, it has a serial number on it, so maybe it was part of the original system, so maybe that should go in there. I have no idea what drivers it takes or anything. Certainly, we need the sound and we need the network. So let's go ahead and, before we do those, let's take care of the front panel headers. Oh, I'm not thinking. All right. Now that's not too hard to read. Let's see. Speaker is upper right. Got that off by 1. Not that we actually need the speaker because it has an onboard piezo, but okay, let's find reset. That's this guy. Sorry if my head's in the way. Okay. Power light is going to be that guy, and then power switch is going to be that guy there. And what is this blue cable? Standby. Fuck that. We don't need that. No one wants that. Yeah, okay. All right. So let's start with sound card. Oh, which, I guess we can put this in the bottom slot. I think that's where it was to begin with. It kind of fights with the front panel headers, though. No, actually, that won't work. That will not fit. That card is only suitable for a half or a like quarter length ISA card. That's kind of a bummer. Okay. Wow, it's not going to be easy to see on the camera, but I can still see all the contacts on the end of the ISA connector. So it looks for all the world like it's not all the way in, but it is all the way in. Huh. Don't like that. There we go. Okay. And then this situation. Oh, right. Because, okay, normally this would be the CD-ROM cable for the audio from the from the CD-ROM into the sound card. But there was an MPEG 2 decoder card in here, and apparently they use special cables for pass-through on it. I had not realized that. So I think, are those wired differently? Yes, they are. Yeah, wow, look at that. That one's, no, I'm sorry. No, they're wired identically. Okay. So you could get those backwards, although I don't know if it would matter. But I'm not putting the card in here, so I don't have a way to hook the CD-ROM up. Which is not a problem because we weren't going to get any audio out of the CD-ROM anyway. But, you know, brain had to think about it. Okay. You know, I always forget about the fact that machines like this only had, even though it's got 3 ISA slots down here, it only actually has 2 usable because if you look, if I put a PCI card here, it hangs into this space. If I put an ISA card there, it hangs into the exact same space. So you actually can't use both of these at once. So if you have a machine that's loaded up with PCI cards, you're not going to be able to use ISA card, all the ISA capacity. Although the probability of that happening is pretty low. I mean, who's going to need all that stuff populated at once? Probably not a whole lot of people are going to be in that situation. This is not wanting to seat. There we go. All right, cool. Now, here's our network card, which for the record, again, is a 3C905C TX. 3C905C. So when we install NT4, it's going to ask us to choose a network card because it doesn't do auto detection for that stuff. And this time around, we're going to choose that. I hadn't done that last time, and I always wondered if I'd be able to get the networking working. The 3C905 is a good card. Big fan. Oh, that's right. Now I remember. The sound card was not in the bottom slot because what was in the bottom slot was the breakout. So of course it wasn't down there. All right. I imagine you were all here last time, but if you weren't, this is the card that this machine is built around. You can tell because of all the FPGAs. This is the Pinnacle Top Gun or Pinnacle Real Time. Wow, that guy is sitting at kind of a jaunty angle, but I guess he's where he belongs. He's hot glued on, so that must not have moved. But anyway, so yeah, this is our real-time. Whoops, sorry. This is our real-time video processing card. We're gonna go ahead and slot this guy in here. By the way, this is a card that, despite being from like 1998, this is a card that's so long it actually takes advantage of the old school full-length bracket. See, that's actually taking advantage of the slot over there. You don't see that too often, except with like gigantic host bus adapters and stuff like that. So, pretty cool. And that is missing the slot. There we go. That feels seated. Yeah, those are a throwback to the original IBM PC, the 5150. I think. Yeah, right? No, the 5150 didn't have the slot, didn't have the support brackets, I don't think. I don't think it had the rails. I could go look at mine, it's in the other room, but pretty sure it didn't. You know, here's a cool thing. Let's see if we can get in here. Yeah. Check that out. That polycap is sitting right below the aluminum rail there. So it's a good thing I chose a cap that was smaller than the original, because if it were taller, it would actually have been impossible to install the Top Gun card. And this would be a very short stream. Wow, that is kind of comical, actually. Really glad that did not end up being a problem. Anyway, all right. So then these coaxial hoses go down to the VGA pass-through port. So we've got to mount that down here. Signal hose. You see, you put the signal in the hose, and it's coaxial, so it doesn't leak out. I mean, it's just basic science. Well, that's annoying. There we go. Okay. All right. I think we have a damn computer here. So let's just spin this guy around. Love that look. It's even better with the MPEG card in there, although, you know, it's kind of bullshit. Anyway, let's get this SCSI drive mounted. So the original IBM CGA card was long enough to take advantage of the rails, but I don't know that they actually put them in there. Like, they certainly could have. There's no question about that. I just don't know if they literally actually did. I mean, this is a really easy question to answer. It's just not of sufficient priority. I could Google it. Okay, the 5150 does have rails. All right, cool. Yeah, I thought there was a good chance. Yeah, I think it's really irritating Rails have not come back to the ATX standard because, honestly, there's no reason we couldn't have them. And obviously there's a need. Those silly graphics card supports are not adequate. They really aren't. Everyone knows it. They're bullshit, and we should expect better. But no, let me rephrase that. We should demand better. We should expect nothing. Because if you expect anything, you're not going to get it. Okay. And we'll go ahead and plug our power in. Now, I forgot to mention this, but the hard drive we're using here is not actually a SCSI 68 pin. So this hard drive uses SCA 80, I think is what it's called, SCA 72, something like that. Basically, it's a standard for SCSI hard drives that go into servers and drive arrays with a single connector that does both data and power. So to use it here, we're going to be using this crappy little adapter. And these come in a variety of quality levels. This one is not the worst I've ever seen. They're all pretty miserable, but this was the drive I could get because I had it. So the thing that sucks about this is just they are very wobbly. You know, they try their best, but this is simply not how that connector is supposed to be used. It wasn't designed for this. So it really isn't meant to be just dangling on a cable like this. So, you know, if you look at that, you can see there's some wobble there. Now, I've never personally had a problem with these. I don't think I've ever actually literally had one of them fall off or anything like that. So in terms of, is this a liability? Only theoretically. I don't think it really truly is going to be a problem, but it's just worth mentioning. Now, it doesn't even matter until we get the operating system installed and all the software and everything. So, okay, I think we're ready to go. I burned this machine in pretty hard before I brought it in, so I don't really have any doubts that this is going to work. We just need to do a fresh NT install because I hosed the last one. So, yeah, okay. I need to go to break briefly so I can set this thing up and get it powered up and everything, and then we'll be back and we'll get started. we're going to fire this guy up now. Bonk. NT4 workstation. Looks good so far. Looks like I didn't get the keyboard and mouse backwards. Hooray! I won! Okay, IDE drive. Wait a minute. Hang on. Where's our CD-ROM? Oh, damn it. Where's the CD-ROM? Yeah, cable must have fallen out. All right, hang on. Oh my god. Okay. Let's try this again. So, apparently, when I was rebuilding the machine earlier, I managed to clamp the IDE cable for the CD-ROM completely under the motherboard. Like it was full way under there, screws tightened down on it and everything. So I just had to take everything out basically, like half the stuff to get the, yeah, there we go, tappy CD-ROM. I had to remove a bunch of screws, take out the graphics card, pull all the cables in order to loosen that. I'm not mad about it. Don't tell the news that I got mad. Yeah, I'm afraid that YouTube chat pretty much does not permit links no matter what, because it is the only way to prevent spam. There's simply no other option. The fun part, I mean, there was no way. Like I was under the desk with my ass up in the air. And trust me, there was nothing fun about it. All right. Meanwhile, so this bastard machine here, sorry for the noise. This thing, this motherboard, I don't think wants to play well. And it doesn't matter because it's the exact same motherboard I just got. SP97B. Oh yeah, that's the same board. It's the exact same board. Literally the same board. Right? SP97V. It is the exact same board. It's identical. God, I'm dumb. Well, I don't think we're going to OS2 today, to be honest. I don't think we're going to get this working. Now, I will check one thing. I wonder what CPU this is. Ooh. Ooh, he is stuck on there, isn't he? Somebody used like adhesive for that. Well, you know what? This machine's useless, so what do I care? There we go. I mean, not useless, but it's not going to do for what I want. And, oh, yeah, there's a K6 under there. Oh, damn, I bent some pins. Ah, shit. I did not want to do that. I do have a replacement chip, but just gently. There is no other way to do this than what I just did, unfortunately, so. Wow. I might break that chip getting it off. Fortunately, they're not terribly rare or anything, but this is a bummer. I'm going to break the ceramic. I know I am. That's not coming off. Well, all right. Computer. Well, that sucks. Yeah, no, I don't think this is glued. That doesn't seem likely to me. I think more likely it's just stuck on there real good. Whatever. All right. You know, there is such a thing as a repair install, but no, we'll just do a full original install. And we don't need the SCSI driver yet. And I think I did find that this was not happy with installing on a hard drive any larger than 4 gigs. So I just went ahead and did that. Now, if I pick this, can I tell it to format? Yes, I can. Oh, but it does take a while. Okay, I'm going to try and do a reinstall. This is dirty, but I'm going to try and do a reinstall on the same drive because I really don't want to reformat. It takes a really long time. All right. This shouldn't take too long. All right, well, I guess that's kind of all I've got for the moment because my other machine ain't working so much. So I guess we'll just chill on this. Well, yes, I could delete the partition, but then we would have to wait 30 minutes for it to format the drive. Who wants to do that? Yeah, YouTube blocks all attempts to post a link because they are under an onslaught of literally millions of bots. They're constantly being updated with new tricks to try and get scam links into comments. It's the entire reason that YouTube comments exist at this point, as far as the entire, petty ass criminal underworld is concerned. Every single YouTube video on the entire website has a bunch of comments with like random Unicode characters telling you to click this link to a Telegram to collect your free prize, and people are constantly falling for it. I have no idea how you can be that dumb. I'm sorry. If you've fallen for this, you need to go to a clinic or something. Like, I do not understand what could possibly make you think that is a real, like, oh yeah, definitely. Cathode Ray Dude definitely made an account with a bunch of like letters inside little circles in order to ask you to go talk to him on Telegram in the comments. Definitely, that definitely happened. Like, come on. My God. Well, a 500 meg partition is still going to take notable time to wipe, and I just don't want to do it. The one I have is perfectly fine. I'm just going to install on it. I mean, it's not like the drive is dirty just because there's a second copy of Windows on there. Let's see. I wonder what, it says that it did something, but what exactly would it have done? Oh, it must have run check disk. That's what it must have been. I was trying to figure out why. Why didn't it just proceed with install? Must have run check disk. Yeah, but I mean, what? They're going to spend... Okay, so they whitelist Wikipedia.com. Well, it turns out anybody can make a page on Wikipedia. So, wikipedia.com/wiki/join_my_telegram_for_free_prize. If you make... Have you ever heard the phrase, the bomber always gets through? Comes from World War II? Like, if you are being attacked by hundreds of thousands of enemies, one will get through. So the only thing you can do, because one is devastating, you lose if one gets through. So you have to act as though literally every single front in the war is the only front, and apply all possible force to it when you're facing a attack surface like that. And to wit, YouTube has been fighting this for years and years and years and years and made no progress. Like, functionally, you would think that they've made no progress. Just look at Reddit, look at our YouTube. It's just nothing but people complaining about spam bots. And this is after almost 2 decades of YouTube fighting this. Effectively, they've made no progress because there are thousands and thousands of people who are sitting around all day long with nothing to do other than try and find a way to get past those blocks. So they just sit there trying one link, and then another format, and then another format, and then another format, and eventually the bomber gets through. The bomber always gets through because you're talking about thousands of them. You can't fight it. They only have so many people. And at some point, they just start coming up with ways to shape links to Telegram that look like natural language, and there's nothing you can do about it. So all they can do is treat everyone like a criminal. Yeah, that was interesting. It came up, but it just hung on the IDE detection. But then I reached down to reset it, and I found the CD-ROM drawer was open because it's actually broken. The CD-ROM drawer is cracked. There we go. Because I kicked it by accident the other day. So I think because it was jammed open, it didn't want to... for some reason, it was blocking the IDE scan. That was very weird. Wow, Trevor, that's quite a sentence there. Winning looks like a stalemate. Man, what a way to put it. Yeah, like, if YouTube wasn't winning, then I wouldn't have any comments because people would have given up a long time ago on even trying to communicate with me. What would be the point? Like, the spam situation is so bad what you're seeing, if you see 3 spam messages, you're not seeing the 50,000 literally that did not get through. Like, yeah, I don't want to... Honestly, this is the thing that irritates me when people go like, oh, YouTube isn't doing anything about this. Oh, they should do something. I just want to say, like, what? What do you propose? Do you have any ideas? Because I'm sure they'd love to hire you. If you think that you have a solution for this, you could probably go get a job today. Well, you think they want this? They don't want this. Oh, it drives engagement or some shit. No, it doesn't. That's not how it works. Come on. No, they don't want this to happen. They've been working on solutions for this for eons. I've watched it. I've watched it evolve. And they really are trying. This is just really stupefyingly hard. Network card not present. All right, well, I'll have to figure that out. Turn off DHCP so it doesn't hang on startup. At least it's installing the networking. I'll be able to install the card later. I have a 3C905C, so maybe that's different from the normal 905. Okay. Yeah, I'll just skip that. That's fine. Yeah, and I mean, okay, you turn off comments and replies. All right, then exactly what happened to Linus Tech Tips happens. They figure out how to compromise your machine, or how to compromise your account, which, yeah, they got phished effectively, but that's beside the point. As much as we want to talk about, like, oh, you shouldn't fall for this stuff, that's all well and good, but oh, that's weird. Oh, this is it. I'm sorry. I just realized this may be installing to a new Windows folder, but it still has the program files folder, and that's the one from the newer SP4 version of NT. So I told it to go ahead and overwrite those files. Things might be a little weird on startup, but then I'll run the SP4 installer and we should be fine. But anyway, yeah, the thing is, there's always another layer. There's always another layer. So what happens is you've got the droves of people standing up front at the beginning of this process 20 years ago who are just going to the comments and posting like, click here to send me, it's just a PayPal link. And it's like, click here to send me $50 if you like this video. And somebody clicks on it and sends them $50. So YouTube bans PayPal links. So so that person goes, ah, damn. And then they wander off to find some other scam, because if things were working out for them in life, they wouldn't be trying to scam people. They would just have a normal job if that was practical for them. So they're going to do this one way or another. So they wander off to find some new scam because they don't know how to get past this. Well, another person steps up to take their place. And that person starts going, well, what if we use a link shortener service? Let's try that. So then YouTube bans link shortening services. Okay, well, what if we, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we make phishing, we train everyone on how to avoid phishing. And we make sure that everyone understands that if you get a link that looks like this, or if you get an email that looks like this, that's somebody trying to steal from you. Okay, all those people now turn away dejectedly and wander off to find some new scam. A new set of people steps up and goes, okay, how do we attack this? What's next? What do we do with the person who's already been trained? How do we get them to fall for it anyway? And the process starts again, and it continues, and it continues. And it's been going on at this point. Phishing specifically has been going on for over 20 years. It's never going to end. Yeah, I'm sure that Linus Tech Tips is going to do some retraining. It doesn't mean that there isn't somebody out there who's looking at the exact same retraining, going, okay, what do we do next? What do we do next? What's next? So the bomber will always get through. Sooner or later, eventually. If it's not Linus Tech Tips, then it's somebody else. And if it's not by phishing, then it's something else. Because there's just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people sitting around who have nothing better to do. Literally, they have no options. They cannot get a regular job, or it will not pay enough for them to live, with any kind of dignity. So they have to do something. And they're not doing anything else. They've got nowhere else to be. They might as well just sit at the computer in a net cafe and just go, well, let's try this. What do I have to lose? let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. And they only need to win once. I'm sure we all know where that line comes from. But same difference. Yeah, I mean, I personally do very much think that no matter what your views are on the concept of crime, if you want it to go away, you could just pay everybody in the entire planet $1,000 a month to not commit crimes, and I fucking promise you that the number of crimes is going to plummet. And you can get mad about that, but show me what other strategy we've taken that has worked. I'll wait. Like, what do you propose? You got any ideas? I don't have any ideas. Maybe we should start thinking about radical solutions, because what we're doing is not working. Everyone is miserable. Especially the people doing the scams. They're not having a good time. They're not thrilled. Yeah, you know all those YouTube videos are just like, I scammed a scammer. Yeah, imagine if those ones were shaped more like, No, I'm not going to get into that. Those things piss me off. Anyway, I promise you, nobody is doing this for fun. Nobody is doing this for fun. It's like two guys at Berkeley and nothing else. Like, everyone doing this is doing it because they don't have any other options. I cannot get mad at them, but the fact of the matter is that they're always going to be there unless we have a massive improvement in conditions globally. Because, same deal, if there's anywhere that has both internet access and a severely depressed economic situation where most people are miserable and starving, this is going to happen. So you fix one place, it just moves to another. You fix that place, it just moves to another. Either we fix everything or this just continues forever. So, and you can have whatever debate you like about that.
We're dropping frames.
We're dropping frames?
Yeah.
Why are we dropping frames? I'm hearing that we're dropping frames. It doesn't look too bad. But at any rate, here's the thing. I'm not necessarily saying like, oh, well then instead of complaining about this, you should just fix all the problems. What I'm saying is, don't complain. This is no point. There's just no point. Like, this is how it is. And any solution is going to look brutal and unpleasant because the problem is just so massive. It cannot be solved. Okay, so we've installed Service Pack 4. We're still getting some driver failures on startup. I'm a little worried about that. Hopefully I didn't hose this install. Hopefully I won't have to wipe the machine. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and these are the drivers for the Elsa Gloria Synergy. So we're going to go ahead and install those. This installer program is kind of weird. This lets you pick any of the programs that's on this disk. At first, I thought, when I first loaded this up, I thought it was going to install all of these, but no, this is just a menu for selecting what you want. So this comes with SP3, which I hadn't actually noticed, but I already installed SP4. And then this has a whole bunch of options here. So this is the driver for the Elsa Gloria Synergy card without the composite video input and output support. This is the version that we need for the card we have in here. And then this is the, this is interesting, I did not realize this. If I had an alpha machine, I could actually use this card in it. That's kind of cool. And then the rest of this is accessories for other programs. I don't know what main actor sequencer is. I guess maybe I'll install that now I think about it. That might be for the video input output hardware, so that could be cool. But yeah, Microsoft Media Player, Microsoft Net Meeting, obviously those are just cool utilities. And the rest of this is drivers for specific 3D programs. So AutoCAD, 3D Studio Max, Allplan, LogoCAD, Spirit 7, and then just some other various utilities. So that's interesting. Offline reader, Elsa www server. I wonder what the hell that is. I don't want to break this computer, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that one. Anyway, let's install these drivers. Oh, watch this. This is terrifying. Watch this. So in modern Windows, there's a procedure for automatically installing drivers. What this is doing, as far as I can tell, is it is using like Windows send message APIs to click the buttons in the windows.
We need to look at this.
What the hell? Wait, someone's saying we just got a 503 in chat, so it might be YouTube that's at fault.
Well, YouTube is complaining that it's not receiving enough bandwidth. You're dropping.
YouTube always does that.
Dropping tons of frames.
What? Why? Why would we be dropping frames?
I don't know, but you are.
What do you mean dropping tons of frames? Explain that.
I walked in and we've dropped 2,000 frames since I've been in here.
Oh, this only says 63. What the hell? All right, well, this sucks. I'll have to fix this in a moment, but I gotta finish with the ELSA driver here. And then I'll stop the stream and restart it or something. Anyway. So yeah, it like brain slugs the dialogues and just clicks the buttons automatically. There, oh, yep, there we go. I was waiting to see if it was going to finish that. There we go. Now it's done. Just very unsettling that that's how it does it. Also, I do want to point out the title of this window is Winnerware. That's what they call their driver package. All right, I'm going to restart this, and we're going to go to break for a moment. I'm going to restart the stream and see if it connects to a new ingest server. So, fingers crossed. Okay, well, so it's possible I'm having some sort of issue with my ISP here because well, I just ran a speed test and only came up with about 15 megabits, but maybe that's because the stream was running at the same time. I've adjusted my bitrate down to like 12 megabits. Probably looks like crap at 1080, but let's see how this goes. OBS says I'm not having nearly as many drops. Oh, internet connection here is crappy Comcast. It's like 200 by 20. It sucks super bad, but old building, you know, nothing else we can really get, so what can you do? Anyway, if this looks all right right now, then we'll just stick with it. All right. Okay. So yeah, NT4 has restarted and a new graphics driver has been installed. Let's go ahead and set. So this is a pretty good card, so it can drive pretty much whatever we want. I think it'll do 1920 by 1080. Obviously, we can't do that, but let's go with 800 by 600 for the moment. It's true color, so that's dope. All right. Now, the last time we did this, on the previous install of Windows, one of the things that was concerning me is that it seemed like the demo apps in the samples directory here, it seemed like these were not running correctly versus the first time that I set the machine up. So we're going to try and launch these. We're going to see if they work any better. We're also going to copy these. Supposedly there's some MPEGs in here. I don't know that I have an MPEG player on here right now. Let me see if, I don't think we have Media Player installed. I don't think that came with this version. Oh, we do. Okay. Well, we should be able to play this then. Let's see. I do notice, I don't think we have a sound card installed right now, which is probably because there's no, wait, there was a beep just now? Why did we beep? Huh. I don't know what that was. Anyway, so there's no sound card, and that's probably because it's an ISA card, and certainly NT4, if nothing else, is not going to detect that. Yeah, let's see. There we go. Auto adjust. There we go. That's a little better. So let's see if we can add a sound card. So, like I was saying the last stream, NT4 has absolutely no device manager. Instead, there's a whole bunch. This thing, devices here, is not device manager. It's just service management. So to install a SCSI card, you go to SCSI adapters. To install a sound card, you go to multimedia. To install network card, you go to network. They're scattered all over the place. It's kind of sensible, honestly, in a certain way. It makes logical sense, but it just means it can be really tough to figure out where to look to find a device. So anyway, if we go to add here, pretty sure I have a Sound Blaster 16 compatible in there. So let's just try adding that and see if that works. I gotta put the NT disc in. Okay. Oh boy, I have not seen the CD menu for NT4 before. Oh, that's gorgeous. Aesthetic. 220? Probably. No? Okay. Let's try. Oh no. I mean, I'm sure it's 220, so. Ah, crap. Alright, well, I guess we won't be getting that working, so. At least it's nice enough to check instead of just letting you install it and then failing. Whoa. Why did this Explorer window open like that? That was weird. Cannot determine the device type from the given extension. What? That can't be right. These should just be plain old, show all files, display the full title, single window. Okay. Yep, that's MPEG. So maybe this doesn't have an MPEG encoder installed. Oh yeah, this just is, oh right, this just does AVI. Now I remember. All right, let's swap this out. Yeah, there might be, it hadn't occurred to me that the menu, or the media player installer might have included an MPEG codec. Now, the last time I did this, the auto run crashed the OS, and I think partially contributed to corrupting the operating system. So I'm holding down Shift and Control, and hopefully that skips the auto run. I don't know if they added that on this version of Windows yet. Fingers crossed. Waiting. We might have dodged a bullet. I'm waiting for the disk to spin down. I want to be absolutely certain that we skipped it. Okay, I think we're good. All right, let's do probably MS Apps, I'm guessing. Okay, we've got... Any one of these could be it. So, a movie. Let's see what this is. Oh, active movie. I don't think that's what we need, but I'm going to install it anyway. Okay. Let's get a media player. Plugin and codecs. So let's try this. This might be a newer version of media player too. I remember the first time I got to answer T1/LAN in one of those speed questions and actually mean it, because I had 1.5 meg ADSL in like 1999, something like that. It felt incredible. $1 million. Let's frame this up a little better. There we go. Wow, that has taken a while. I guess, yeah, it has a lot of codecs to install. There we go. Oh, right. Yeah, there's that gorgeous Internet Explorer, like, what, 3? 2! Delightful. Ancient. All right, let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's fine. But we should get nice, smooth MPEG playback. Oh, and we are. Delightful. Delightful. I wish that I had sound, but I also am kind of glad that I don't, because this is a deeply and intensely cringeworthy video made by the Elsa is a German company, and this is a couple of like programmers from their team that decided to make like a little fictional narrative video about the Elsa Gloria. It's very silly. But anyway, so we've got MPEG playback. Let's see what this other file is. I think it might be the same thing, just different. Yeah, huh. Let's see, what? 352 by 288, 33 megs. And then this one, 2 by 288, 32 megs. Huh. I don't know what the difference is between those. All right, whatever. Anyway, let's run the OpenGL tests as well, because I was having problems with those last time. Oh, okay. This one was working fine. Oh, you're right. That's right. I thought I remembered the one that I had been sent was in German, but now I remember it was in English. That's right. So yeah, I think you're right. All right, so that program works, but that I think worked before. So let's run this one. Okay, we get that error. Okay, there we go. The last time I ran this program, it just kept restarting over and over. So there was something funky going on. All right, this is looking a lot better. So like I said, this is a 3D Labs per media card under the hood. It's been, you know, repackaged, and it was manufactured by Elsa, but it's largely just a 3D Labs per media. I don't know if the Vivo features, I'm pretty sure the Vivo features are built in, so I think this is pretty much what we'd expect from it. And this is running at 800 by 600 and it's getting an average of probably 30 FPS, it looks like. I don't think... Oh, okay. Can we control this manually? I have no idea. We've frozen it, but I don't seem... Oh, there's our FPS in the lower left, I do believe. If we resize this... Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we get 100 FPS at... That's probably a 320 by 240, roughly, window size. I wish I could make it go again. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of options in this program, but none of them make the car go again. Let me restart that. I want to see that smooth 60. It says it's still running at 100. Interesting. Still running at about 100. And then suddenly It seems to drop down to 50 just abruptly. Vivo is video in, video out. Also, I believe this is a Promedia 2 card, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, all right, so the 3D card is working well. Let's take a look at... All right, same deal here. This program was, the last time I ran this, it just kept restarting over and over. So, looks like we're good there. Okay, so 3D is working. So let's proceed. Our next disk here is going to be Adobe... there we go. Adobe Premiere RT 5.1. This very legitimate copy of it. And then after that, we just have to run the real-time installer and then the Title Deco installer, and then we should be ready to actually make this thing go. And then you'll actually get to see what the hell it does. Aren't you excited? Let's see. We need the serial number for this. From my very legitimate copy of Adobe Premiere. Don't worry. I did pay for this. I was saying last time that, you know, NT4, it seems charming, but it isn't. Like, well, I guess you could say that it's charming, perhaps, but good? Not at all. Definitely not. Not actually good. Just, it has a certain energy. Oh, and I got this error before. This is a Where's version of this thing, so it's missing the rest of the install files, so it doesn't have the DirectX or the QuickTime installer. That is not a problem. I had no issues with it last time. The only issue I had was that the machine blew up. If Windows NT had not corrupted its own file system just by breathing, which is so typical, we're actually fairly close to being done here. This might be a relatively short stream because things are going pretty well. I'm putting the real-time disk in now. Oh, right. It's really silly. The installer itself refuses to run unless you set the screen resolution to the minimum supported. I have no idea why they would do that instead of just saying that when you try to actually run the software. Just weird. Weird. Okay, found Premiere RT51. Have to pick a video format. Oh, I guess it'll let you pick both, so, Oh, listen, Joseph, I'm so far beyond jinxing, like, it doesn't matter what I do. At this point, I'm just like, come at me, bro. I have stuff blow up on me with such incredible regularity and through no fault of my own, and then other times I just, here, let me show you something. I'm just going to cop to this because I'm going to make it right later. Went to the RePC yesterday. I got this. And, someone is going to freak out, I'm guessing, when they see what this is. So, I found this in the miscellaneous boards bin. Didn't have a price. I got, priced at 20 bucks. Because I just needed a board and it was interesting, but I looked it up on eBay. I couldn't find any price for it, so I was like, whatever, I'll give you 20 bucks for it. So yeah, maybe you recognize what's weird about this right off the bat. Maybe not. Let's just there's the CPUs. The dual Pentium board in an era when that was really not a thing. This guy just goes in here, and then you've got, the dual RAM banks. It's AT only, which was shocking to me. It's not even ATX. Somebody asked what this was. I've been told that that's an extension, a special extension for certain cards, mostly like Adaptec SCSI cards. But anyway, so this is a very interesting board, and it's worth 500 American dollars, and I'm going to take it back because I really had no idea that I don't want RePC to go out of business. I really don't. You know, somebody said like, "Oh, that's worth a lot more than that," but I thought they were gigging me. Like I thought they were just giving me shit, but no, I don't even think they realized quite what this is worth. So I don't need this. It's just going to be a computer. It's going to start up. It's going to say C. I'm going to type dir. You know, I do not need to keep this, and I don't want to destroy my local computer store. So I would much rather they have, you know, most of a week's pay for somebody. But the point is, with that, and then, you know, the damn, when I bought the other baby AT tower that I got, and then found out very quickly that the card that was in it was that like Saturn on a card that NVIDIA made as their like first product, and that's worth like $2,000 if it sells. Like, I paid so little for that, so it's, you know, to a certain extent, like I kind of fall ass backwards into cash. I really do not need to keep this just because, right? Like, oh, it's cool. What am I going to do? Stick it in a closet? I'm never going to use it for anything. It's probably not very reliable anyway. So, yeah, I have no interest in defrauding them. Just one of those things where sometimes you just, I don't know. Sometimes you just don't know, you know, until you do something and you look back on it and you're like, oh, crap, I didn't quite realize what I was doing there. Okay, so let's run, this is the crack. There's Bob Dobbs. All right. Okay, and I think we're ready to go. Hey, hon? Can you step in here and hand me the breakout box?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to go to break for a moment. I got to set up some video gear. Well, let's see if Premiere starts first. Let's save ourselves some time. Let's just see if Premiere even starts. Bonk. Okay, so what should happen here, we get the Adobe Premiere splash screen, and then we should get, can't initialize, oh, you know what? I need to restart the computer. I just realized. Before running this, I need to restart. This is in the era when you had to do that. I'm going to go to break for a moment, and we're going to set up some gear. I'll be right back. Okay, so I had to restart the machine and start Premiere to see if it was going to work, and it did in fact work. It recognized the card, so I'm going to go ahead and hit yes on this box here. And what this is going to do, as I'm going to explain, is this is going to output a calibration signal because this card is actually doing VGA pass-through. So we have a connection from the graphics card output going into the real-time card, and then from there into the monitor. And the real-time card has to actually look at the output from the graphics card to figure out where it should be. It has to calibrate itself so it knows where to overlay the video. So when I hit yes, we're going to get this weird stuff. And I don't know what it's encoding in that, but yeah, it basically is using that to figure out where the what the shape of the VGA signal from this particular card is. All right, and now we have editing mode real time. Bink. And this is how we know the card worked. This is a pretty normal interface for Adobe Premiere. The only thing that's unusual about this is the real-time performance monitor that shows up here. Okay, so what we need to do now is I need to pan this over here. So we're going to need video input and output, and to do that, let's just tour this as we did yesterday. All right. Is that focused? I don't think that's focused. Maybe it is. Here, let's make sure. There, that's focused. There we go. All right, cool. So this is the real-time breakout box, and it has this great big enormous umbilical coming out the back. That's like that big around because it's all coax cables. And that plugs into a huge 64-pin breakout on the back of the real-time card. And then this gives us our video inputs and outputs here. So we've got composite, S-video, and component. And then SDI, serial digital, over on the right here. That's actually not active, unfortunately. You have to have an add-on card for that, which I don't have and probably doesn't exist anymore. We've got the same on the bottom here. And then we've got two channels of analog audio. You can do either balanced or unbalanced. So we're not going to bother with the audio right now because natch. Anyway, so for our video input, we're going to use this VTR here. Let me just get set up thusly and set a preset. One moment. There we go. All right. So this is connected to the output of the real-time card, so we're not seeing anything right now. This guy here has a tape in it. This is my littlest, tiniest, babyest DV cam deck. This here is some footage I shot a long time ago for a video. It's kind of dorky because it was meant to be dorky because you were supposed to see it on a little tiny screen down in the corner of the video. I think if you go back and watch the "What's My Favorite Thing" video, I think you'll see this. I think that was it. No, was it that? I don't. What was it? No, it wasn't "What's My Favorite Thing," right? No, it's something else. Gosh, I don't remember what this video was. Yeah, I honestly can't remember. Huh. Well, anyway, one of my videos, you can see this down in the corner playing on the DSR-50 while I'm saying something else. So I'm kind of acting like a clown here because that was the point. Anyway, I love this this little deck here. This is the DSR-50. No, sorry, DSR-45 is the model number on there. It's pretty much like the DSR-250, that little portable DV cam deck, except that it's not portable. It's kind of the same general idea. It's really tiny. Got the little preview display on here, which is why I love it. It takes both the small and large tapes. And get your little audio controls, your volume controls over here. You got your little tiny red LED time code display. Just a wonderful little device. So we're going to use this as our video source. So let's go ahead and pan over here. And let's do a video capture. So, okay, what the real-time card does, the great big card, all the FPGAs I showed you, its purpose is basically to do video capture and video output. This often takes a couple of tries before it starts working, so let me mess with this for a moment. I might have to go in and set our capture source. That I may not have actually set that, so let me go see about that. Let's go to, it must be in the project settings. I can never quite remember where this is. Do we go to movie capture, recording options? Okay, there we go. I just saw the real-time initialize. So I think if I now close this and then go in and do capture again. There we go. All right. Okay, this is the capture preview window, and I'm going to hit play on our DSR deck here. Oh, whoops, I forgot to set the input. That's right. So we have to go to settings, and we go to input. We set our video input to component. There it is. There it is. Outstanding. Okay, so this is the video image that's coming in live from the DVCam deck. And this is being overlaid on the video image. So this picture does not exist in software right now. Like Adobe Premiere cannot see this. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to hit record. Okay. So it's recording right now, and it's saying we're dropping a bunch of frames. I'll explain why that is in a moment. But we're up to about 20 megs. Okay, I'm going to hit escape. Basically, the hard drive can't keep up with what we're recording, and I'll talk about that shortly. So here's the clip that we just recorded, all right? Now, you may not be able to see this. I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and see if this is visible. One moment. Let me focus. Well, I'm not sure if it's visible or not, but it's interlacing. So it's bobbing back and forth between two sets of fields. And so you can just barely see it jiggling up and down. So this is, I don't know whether this is a digitized input or whether we're seeing the analog video being scaled in the analog domain. I'm really not sure. But what I can tell you is if we click off of this, oh, see that? See how it changed? You can probably guess what's going on there, but just to be clear, this is being rendered by Adobe Premiere. This is being rendered by the real time. And you can tell it's in the analog domain rather than the digital. So let's get back in here. Okay, you can see that it's warbling. You can see the interlacing bob. You can also see it's kind of low resolution. I mean, look at this. This does not look very good. But if we click off of this, hey, look at that. The color's different. The contrast is different. It's got more dynamic range. The resolution's higher. It actually looks better. So, as far as I know, this is basically analog domain inaccuracy in the real-time card itself. Because you notice it's not even scaled correctly. See, if we click on this, we're losing some of the top and bottom and a little bit off the sides. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it's actually scaled incorrectly. And I'm not really sure if that's because the card is miscalibrated, if it's old, or if it always did that. It seems like a pretty severe problem. And I'd like to compare Playback with or without the real-time card, but if you click off of this, it just always stops playing. And the reason for that, I believe, is because the real-time card, its whole purpose is to encode video into its own proprietary flavor of MJPEG, which I think is worth talking about for a moment. So MJPEG is a really interesting format. As the name suggests, it's motion JPEG is literally a video file comprised of a series of JPEGs. It's literally, what if you took a whole bunch of JPEGs of a video, just broke it out into files and put them on the hard drive and then just played them by displaying one at a time. So you've got your typical JPEG compression artifacts. And it's typical JPEG decoding overhead, right? So this sounds wild, like, JPEG looks like shit. But, and don't quote me on this, I'm not super sure where the general wisdom is on it, but for a long time, MJPEG was actually considered the sort of the gold standard for this stuff. Like, high quality JPEG is pretty good, especially for standard definition. I think it does fine. I think it was even being used for HD for a while. Well, so yes, video is a bunch of frames one after another, except that most video codecs that we're familiar with are interframe codecs, meaning when you start playing an MPEG-4 file, or an H.264 file, or H.265, or any of the modern codecs, really anything that you've used since, virtually anything you've ever used, honestly, when you start playing, the first thing that happens is that the file contains a keyframe. It begins with a keyframe. The keyframe is a compressed but still complete copy of the entire screen. So you can take that first keyframe and decode it statically. If that's all you have, you can decode that keyframe. Then when it gets to the next frame, the file doesn't contain the whole frame. It only contains the differences between the first frame and the next. It's a lot more complicated than that, but that's pretty much how it works. So interframe codecs are very efficient for storage because they're only storing, more or less, the deltas from one frame to the next. You save on gobs of space that way. The trouble is they suck for editing. They're miserable. Suppose that you want to jump to frame 3000 in a video file. Well, if it's MP4, the only way to do that is you click on frame 3000, the media player sees that the last keyframe was at 2965, so it has to skip back to there, read that frame, and then play forward 40 frames to get you your frame 3000. And every single time that you move the play bar, it has to do this again. Now, normally this isn't a problem because typically when you play a video file, you are playing it forward, right? So interframe codecs are more focused on playback than they are on editing or on what the Brits would call trick play. The ability to jump around, play at different speeds, that sort of stuff, all becomes much harder with interframe codecs, but that's just usually not a big deal. It does make decoding circuitry, especially silicon, like dedicated chips, much simpler. Intra-frame codecs, on the other hand, every single frame is a self-contained image. So with Motion JPEG, every frame is literally a whole JPEG. So the amount of time it takes to decode any frame is known. It's consistent. And if you have a silicon chip that's doing the decoding, then that chip, as long as it can decode one JPEG, will always be able to decode any other JPEG in the exact same length of time. So you can trust that any chip that can play MJPEG in real time will work on any file. Also, for editing, you don't have any decrease in quality between frames. Every frame is top quality. So if you set your JPEG encoding to a level that's satisfactory, the entire file will be that good. It's a little more complicated than that because there is still a nonlinearity between the content density of any given frame and the compression ratio. So if your JPEG is set to, I don't know, level 12 or whatever, and that looks good for a frame that doesn't have a lot of visual noise in it, it still might not be good enough for a later frame that's more busy. So you still have to tune the codec to get the level of quality you need for the entire video. But once you get that, you can trust that the entire video is going to be that good, or if not overkill. It also is effectively, it's still variable, right? If you set your compression level to 12, if it doesn't need all that bit rate, it's not going to use it, right? It's still going to tap out once it's encoded enough detail to capture the entire image. So you're really just telling it as you're telling it the maximum level it's allowed to go to. Other intraframe codecs, the only one I can really think of off the top of my head, ProRes is well known, DNX, DN8, whatever the hell it is. There's a couple other ones. They're virtually non-existent outside of video editing. MJPEG has the interesting quality that up until MPEG-4, MJPEG was still a major player in portable consumer cameras. If you had like a Mavica, those recorded MJPEG. If you put them in video mode, a lot of other consumer digital cameras did. There were very early solid-state flash camcorders that did. I don't think any of the hard drive camcorders ever did. I think those were all MPEG-4 or MPEG-2. But anyway, the point is that MJPEG is actually quite nice. It's a good format, but it's not very efficient because it's intra-frame. It's going to be a lot bigger than any other competing codec in the consumer space. So if this recorded in MPEG-1, it would probably record very small files. Well, actually, MPEG-1 is limited to like 1.5 megabits, something like that, so certainly. But MJPEG just can't get that small, at least not at decent quality settings. Well, the other thing about MJPEG is that there's no standard for it at all. I was just reading about this the other day. There is no specification for it. It is sort of a de facto standard. Everybody did it differently. So there's a whole bunch of incompatible implementations of MJPEG. So from what I understand, real-time the real-time hardware encoder decoder card, the codec card that's in this machine speaks real-time's unique variant of MJPEG. So I'm not sure if Adobe Premiere is using its own MJPEG codec when we switch to, this is presumably being software decoded. Now, there is a software codec for the real-time MJPEG format on the disk, but I didn't install it. And I don't know if Adobe Premiere is just able to decode this with its built-in MJPEG support, or if it's using the real-time codec, or if this is some plugin. I have no idea what's going on here. But I suspect that Adobe Premiere is not actually capable of playing this file directly. Sure, it could grab a frame, but I don't know that it can actually play the file. I'd like to install the software codec and try it, so we're going to go ahead and save this clip. Or actually, no, we're not going to bother because this clip is actually messed up. And the reason for that is the bit rate on this file, I'm going to go ahead and close this, we're just going to throw this away. The bit rate on this file is very high, and the hard drive can't actually handle it. So if we go in here to capture, let me switch the camera over here. So this is pretty cool. Pardon me. This thing here lets you select what bit rate you want to record at. And I want to point out that that is not megabits, that is megabytes. So you have to multiply it times 8 to get the megabit rate, which, I'm sorry, my basic times tables, I'm so bad at them. What is 6 times 8? It's a bunch. Anyway, it's quite a few megabits per second, but even 6 megabytes per second is a bit much for an old crusty, like 20 gig hard drive, which is what we're using here. But this basically is giving you all the information you could possibly ask for, right? A lot of programs are not nearly this nice. These are not independent settings. You look at this and go, oh God, I don't know how to set all this. It doesn't matter because you're not setting all of this. All these sliders are related. There's only actually one setting here, and it's the bit rate. Everything else is just informational. So the lowest this will go is 0.29 megabytes per second, which is nearly a 69:1 compression ratio, so almost nice, but not quite. And it's telling us that that's going to be about 10 kilobytes per frame, and that on this hard drive, it can only run for about 4,000 seconds or an hour and 45 minutes. And also, it's telling us this is categorized as quality level 1. And it gives us these nice little categories. So it's saying if you're doing, well, I don't know what offline means exactly, but that might have something to do with, that might be talking about like, nowadays we would use the term proxy, I think, to refer to this, meaning that it's so low resolution that it's so low bit rate that you can play it at real time even on low powered hardware. So that's probably what that refers to. Then we have S-Video, which I'm assuming is saying, hey, if you're capturing over S-Video, there's really no point in going any harder than this. You're not going to have any improvement. This one's just called high. Then we have Betacam SP, which again is supposed to imply that if you're capturing from Betacam SP, which was a very, very common commercial format at the time, that this will capture enough quality to theoretically, represent represent the quality of that tape. So most people would have been working off this setting because digital formats were only just coming up in the world at this point. This was about 1998, and DV had not yet taken over. And then we just have super high and highest. So I did read a Usenet post that says that 6 megabytes per second was so good that they actually thought it was uncalled for, and that the 3 megabyte setting was actually only imperceptibly degraded from the original footage. But still, I would prefer to go with the 6 megabytes. So that's about 200 kilobytes per frame, and it's only a 3:1 compression ratio. And as you can see, this is going to eat up our hard drive really quick. It says it's only going to only let us capture 300 seconds of video, about 8 minutes. Now, with this thing cranked all the way to the max, this is completely uncalled for. I don't think anybody would ever need this kind of resolution. But with this cranked all the way to the max, there is no compression, which means this is probably effectively like Sony D1 video, just like raw bit stream. And this is 680 kilobytes per frame, which if you do the math, that's quite a lot. It's going to eat up our entire 3 gigs of hard drive space in only 92 seconds. So that's pretty cool. We don't need it. So we're going to turn this back down to where we started. 6 megabytes per second is perfectly fine. But still, this hard drive can't actually keep up with it. So that's why I put the SCSI drive in here. They recommended that you actually use a set of striped SCSI drives, which is really not messing around. That's a tremendous amount of throughput. But at the same time, circa, what am I trying to say here? Circa 1998, and maybe your typical SCSI drive couldn't actually deliver that kind of throughput. I'm not actually sure. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, we did not install the drivers for our SCSI card. Whoops-a-daisy. Let's just close this here. Fortunately, I have them on a floppy disk. Now again, like I said, you have to install all your drivers from different sections. So this is the SCSI adapters control panel. This is where we're going to install our SCSI driver. You can see we've got the, because CD-ROMs, ATAPI CD-ROMs are actually SCSI under the hood. There's always a driver for that, any operating system made in the modern era. But for anything else, we have to add it. I guess I could have just hit OK there, honestly. There we go. I don't know if it would have searched for it. And this is a... Oh, shit. No, this is the wrong controller. Oh, crap. That's right. Crap. I actually got this driver originally from the Motherboard driver disk, which I no longer have. I sent it back with... Oh, but you know what? But I copied it to the hard drive. Hey, who's thinking with their ass? I'm smart. We look for things. Things to make us go. Now I just have to remember which model it is, because there's a few. That is a 29... I think it's this one? Are these different? 78.9. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Fingers crossed. Oh, gotta type it in. It's mad at me. What did I do wrong? Oh, shit. I'm supposed to hit... crap. It doesn't let me change words. Exit setup. Yes. Irritating. Yeah, NT4. Primitive. Not modern. Some parts of it are like kind of surprisingly modern, and then other parts really, really aren't. All right, let's try this again. Okay, the path is C:/. I got everything wrong. I think I said 7900 as well. There we go. Okay. So we start our compooper. Huh, Pixlet. Never heard of that. And also, I think, Steve, I think you mentioned DV. That was another intra-frame codec, which again is because DV was developed for editing. It was also developed for being decoded by silicon, fixed function silicon. So intra-frame works really well for that. It's also why DV has a stupidly high bit rate. The little baby tape that's in this guy here actually records at 50 megabits per second, which is a ridiculous bit rate for the time. But even before that, when mini DV tape came out in 1996, that was recording at 25 megabits per second, which that's a shocking amount of storage at that time. I mean, again, like, I don't think any consumer hard drive could actually handle that when DV was first released. Later on, it was possible. Like, by the time the iMac DV came out, things had improved. But I think in 96, it would have been hard. But besides that, just storage. I did the math once, and a mini DV tape, the little 60-minute mini DV tapes that came out for the first camcorders in like 97, stores about 12 gigabytes, which was larger than, I think, virtually any commercial hard drive in the consumer market at that time. That could be wrong. There might have been 12 gig hard drives at that point. But still, if you ripped an entire DV tape to your hard drive, you're going to fill up your entire hard drive at that time. It was ridiculous. DV was just like stupefyingly high bit rate for what it was, considering it was a consumer product. All right, so we're back on the stage of history here. I keep getting this service failed during system startup. I keep meaning to check on that. Let's check on that real quick. I know it's because I reinstalled Windows, but let's just see. Oh, it's because the network never installed. Okay, so that's nothing to worry about. I thought it was because I reinstalled Windows, but it isn't. All right, so now the SCSI drive. Let's see if the SCSI adapter loaded. It looks okay. Yep, there's our hard drive. So now let's go to disk management. which is called Disk Administrator in this version. And when it comes up, it should say, hey, I've never seen this hard drive before. There we go. Yep, okay, so the hard drive was blank. Terrific, that's what we want to see. So let's go ahead and create a partition here. All right, and we'll do, you have to manually commit partition changes, which is actually kind of cool. We don't have to restart, which is neat. And we can do a quick format, which is also pretty cool. It says unknown capacity. You know what? I don't trust like that, so I'm going to go ahead and restart disk management. Last time I formatted it, even though it said unknown capacity, I didn't seem to have a problem. But on the other hand, that disk later corrupted itself. So let's... yeah, it still says unknown capacity. So I'm guessing that's a bug in how they coded this dialog. Yeah, that's odd. Well, anyway, we can do a quick format, so that's good. So we'll call this footage. Okay. Right now, we should be able to store plenty of footage, like maybe even an hour. Oh, and now you'll get to see the real-time splash screen. So it does the Adobe Premiere startup, and by the way, this is the real-time version of Adobe Premiere, which has been customized for real-time hardware support. Now it's starting the card. I can see the PVM is flickering, and that's doing a lot of flickering. Holy crap. I don't have time to move the camera over. Oh, there we go. Okay, and now we'll get a second splash screen if the card didn't crash. There we go. All right, and we're ready to go. So now we're going to go in. We're going to go to Movie Capture. All right, we're going to go to Scratch Disks. And we're going to change our temp captured movies to the footage drive, preview temps to the footage drive, audio preview temps to the footage drive. Okay, and now we're going to do a capture. I'm going to hit play here. Oh, you know what? Bad news. I left that videotape playing, so we're going to have to wait a little bit for it to rewind. But if we look here, we're up to almost 30 megs. We've only dropped 2 frames, and that's actually normal. So we've got enough throughput on this drive that we'll be able to record at least 6 megabytes per second. Let's actually mess with it here. Let's throw away that file I just captured. That's obviously useless. Let's crank this and see how hard it can go. Let's just slam that guy up there. Now this is fixed bit rate as far as I can tell. Now, I said earlier that it would be variable, but I think I was actually wrong. Oh, no, you know what? I set it to 20 megabytes per second, but that's obviously not recording 20 megabytes per second. We're only up to 40 megs, and it's been 13 seconds. So, yeah, no, it's variable. All right. So I'm going to fast forward our tape here. We're just going to land on video at some point. Theoretically, anyway. Huh. Man, where's the video? Jeez. Maybe I'm still not rewound far enough. Let's see. I'm going to cancel this so it doesn't fill up our drive. You know, I didn't check. Let's, close that. Let's take a look at the record settings. Okay, so at 20 megabytes per second, we can actually still capture 28 minutes onto this hard drive. That's what you get for having a drive that's bigger than anything you could get at the time. But at the base 6 megs, which as I understand is really all you need, we can get an hour and 34. So not as much as you might hope. But yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Oh, you know what? Oh, it turns out there's much better footage on this tape. I didn't realize was on here. I was just scrubbed past it. So I got these tapes on eBay, and I got them from some kind of like youth film school kind of thing. All right, so let's hit record. Okay, yeah, there we go. So even at 6 megabits, this is now counting up a lot faster. So it definitely was using sort of a variable bit rate. So that's capturing. This is like some sort of student TV show at a film school somewhere. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it, but I watched through these. There doesn't seem to be anything like too terribly mortifying in there, so I don't feel too bad about messing with the footage. There's no like weird behind the scenes stuff, you know, anybody embarrassing themselves. So, all right, we're now on 20 megabytes per second. Can it do it? Oh yeah, look at that. It's not quite hitting 20 megs, so apparently the scene isn't quite complex enough for that, but we're definitely hitting it pretty hard. Yeah, we're up to, it's been 10 seconds, we're up to 120 megs, but we're not getting any dropouts here. Yeah, looks like it's just killing it. So this SCSI drive is definitely capable of it. You know, the funny thing, gosh, I can only just barely hear the head going, but it is going. So anyway, there's our first video file. So let's go ahead and save that. This thing is doing what it's supposed to be doing, by the way. Just to be clear. The Hype 1, save that. God, the increase in dynamic range when you switch to software decoding is just ridiculous. And we're going to go install the real-time MJPEG codec and see if we can play this in software. I'm guessing we probably can't. I'm going to drop this down to 6 megabytes per second. We're going to capture another clip. All right. Yeah, see, that's counting up a lot slower. It's still going, though. That's a lot of data. You know, remember, this is an absurd bit rate, even by modern standards. It's a ridiculous bit rate. Modern, like MPEG-4, you're talking about, you know, 5 to 20 megabits, not megabytes per second, typical. And for like serious, you know, like 4K stuff, you're talking about what, maybe 200 megabits, which it's not a whole lot more than what this is capable of recording at. And yeah, for standard def, it's really good. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. And also notice how smooth this is. Like, we're working on a Pentium 3 machine here, but this would have worked on a Pentium, and because the hardware is assisting with everything, it should have been about this clean. So this is quite impressive. So I'm going to go ahead and close Premiere for the moment, and we're going to go back to the real-time driver disk, and we're going to install the codecs. I forgot to do that. I'm really pleased because so far this seems to be working pretty smoothly. This is how I had it before. This is what we want to see. So if we go to the E drive there, yep, here's our 325 meg file and our 253 meg file. And if we try and play this, this should fail, I'm guessing. Oh! Is it working? Oh, Lord. Okay, well, so I don't need to install any codecs, apparently. But, oh, this is absolutely eating shit. It is trying. Yeah, there you go. This is a Pentium 3, so not top of the line actually for the time this came out. The Pentium 4 was not out yet, but this is not a top of the line Pentium 3. Sorry, pardon, just a moment. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It's an absurd bit rate if you're not shooting 4K or 6K, but it's an absurd bit rate, especially for 1998. Jeez. Oh, look at that. You can see there's the interlacing. Let's get in there. Now, you know, you will notice that the image is a lot crisper than it was with the real-time card itself. You know, it's definitely cutting corners to render that in a hurry, but yeah, look at that interlacing. That's really good. Okay, well, that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and... oh, you know what? That was the 20 megabyte per second file. Let's try the 6 meg and see if it can do any better. Boy, it's struggling even to open it. Nope. Nope, it's not actually really doing any better. All right, so we don't need this. Looks like it already installed the codec. So let's just go ahead and jump back into Premiere. Now, everything that I've done so far is stuff I've done before with this machine. We're about to go try doing some stuff that I have not done before. I have not to date actually used the editing features, so you're going to get to witness as I try these for the first time. And yeah, I'm really excited. If this works, then real-time video editing without rendering. If this works, then I'm set up to do a proper video about this, which is really exciting. And for anybody who's not aware exactly what the hell this is all about, I don't know that I can demonstrate this easily, but So back in the day, back when this version of Adobe Premiere was current, if you were editing video, even like MPEG-1 video, it took a lot of... Well, here, actually, I can show you this. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure why these files didn't load into Premiere. I'm going to have to investigate that. But let's go to our desktop here. Let's get our MPEG files. Files in unsupported type. What? That's horse shit. Wait, Adobe... No, this version of Adobe Premiere could work with MPEG. What are you talking about? What? I can't accept that. Oh no, QuickTime never got installed. Oh shit. I didn't realize that quite mattered in that way. Shoot. Give me a moment. I need to figure out what we're going to do about this, because I would really like to have that, but I don't know that we have... Yeah, that's... Nope, this is the real-time MJPEG codec. That's definitely already installed. Well, here's an AVI. We'll start with that. You know what? Maybe we can make this work. I'm going to go ahead and copy over just a static image. Let's take all this, just dump this right here. Okay, do we have anything else we can work with? I don't think so. I didn't want to use the real-time demo footage that we just recorded, because that'll have to decode on the card. I'd rather show you something that can actually decode on the CPU itself. So this is just some bars, so it's not very exciting, unfortunately. And I think, oh, that's title deco. Ah, crap. That is not what I wanted. Although, well, we'll get to that. Bear with me a moment. Do I surely? Oh, the Windows folder. There we go. That's what we can do. We go to the Windows folder, and we should have some. Where is it? Is it under System 32? Is that where the? I'm just looking for the wallpapers. I can't remember where the hell the wallpapers are. I think they might have ended up in System 32. Come on. Where are those BMPs? Okay, apparently they're not in here. Config, fonts... Media. Oh. Nope, that's not it. Man, really? I know this comes with wallpapers, but where do they live? Browse. Oh, okay. Supposedly it's just right there in the Windows folder. I just guess I missed it. Oh, there they are. Okay. So I don't have any good video files to demo with, but we'll just have to survive here. So let's do some imports. Don't know why these aren't going into the project bin. I guess I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I mean, to be fair, I've barely used this. Oh, clock.avi, we can use that too. We got some media here. All right, terrific. Okay. So we take clock.avi. Come on, you bastard. We put this on video track A. Okay. And look at that. Nothing happening, right? There's no output. And then let's take winnt.bmp, and we're going to put that on track 2. Okay. And notice, wow, it's really struggling. Geez. Eventually this will populate. Boy, maybe not. All right, well, whatever. Let me go to the transitions here. Okay, we're gonna get a barn doors transition, and we're gonna put it right there. Okay, so at this point, it should transition from track A to track B, but we can't see anything. Nothing doing. What we have to do is we grab this control here, we scale that, and we go to project, and we say render selection. Oh, yep, we do have to save that. All right, and now it's going to build preview. All right, now it's working its way through the timeline. And remember, we're talking about like maybe a 320 by 240 video here. Might even be a lower resolution than that. Single BMP and some simple transition effects. And this is what? A couple frames per second, if that. Like, it's stupendously slow. Honestly, I don't even think it needs to be this slow. I think this is I mean, Adobe Premiere legendarily was not a very efficient program. And I think when they went to Premiere Pro, which is actually the lineage of the current version, Premiere Pro came out a couple years later, I believe. And I think that they basically rebuilt the code base because it was very inefficient. There's no reason this should be as slow as it is. But there we go. Now, look at that. We can scrub. I guess I messed it up. I guess I probably should have truncated the... I guess I was supposed to truncate that. I guess I don't even know how to use this program. Let's so here's a good example, right? Whoops. Now we have to re-render. So we got a project, we got a render selection, and we have to wait through the whole thing again. Doop-a-doo. You remember the Office Space joke where he's shutting down his computer and it has a progress bar, and when that finishes, there's another progress bar, and then when that finishes, there's another progress bar? So what this is doing is it's rendering the video into several separate clips, right? So it first has to process the unaffected portion of clock.avi, then it has a separate clip where it's doing the transition, then a third clip where it's just the BMP on the screen. So now we can scrub through this. What? Wait. Oh, there we go. Oh, there's a brief dropout. I guess I didn't line up the clips correctly. Anyway, we can now hit play. Yep. Oh, okay. I guess there's no dropout. It's just because I was scrubbing it. But you can see how slow this is, right? So, awful. Awful, right? Now, if we swing over to our PVM here, you can see that it's outputting exactly what's on the screen. Unfortunately, the overhead camera is not synced to it. That's a bummer. But if I hit play over here, you can see it's outputting this live. And that was a huge deal at the time. And oh my God, this is very funny. Windows NT Workstation 4 on the PVM. Delightful. So obviously, this sucks. And this is how it was at the time. All video editing used to be just dreadfully slow. It was exactly like what you just watched. Every single little thing required a manual re-render. And that was incredibly time consuming. You made the tiniest change, you had to wait. I mean, you notice that I had to... Oh my God, I never hit stop on the DV. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Don't want to run out of footage here. Imagine if every single time you made the tiniest change, you had to re-render that part of the video, right? And actually, if you look at the... they did try to mitigate this. For instance, if we look here at the top of the timeline, you'll see that we've got blue, green on that little bar there. And then if we adjust this... Come on. God, yeah, I don't even know... Ah, there we go. This has turned red, which means this portion here, because we didn't do anything that affects this portion of the video, this part will still play. I'm still getting a preview right now. But if I scrub back to this part, we just get a red X on the screen because it needs to be re-rendered. Now, they did mitigate this a little bit, right? It only invalidated that part, so we can select that part and hit render selection. And now, of course, it's going to have to... go through the whole render process, but only for that small portion, which is, you know, it's better, right? It's better than nothing. But look at this. Can you imagine why people might not have wanted to switch away from just A/B roll video, you know, just linear editing in the face of this, right? You look at, you go like, oh, why would you ever not use an NLE? They're just obviously better. I would not call this obviously better. This is kind of obviously worse in a number of ways. So this sucked. This sucked. So you could probably infer that the purpose of the real-time card is to make that unnecessary. So let's see. I'm not great yet at demoing this thing. I've barely gotten it to work before it broke the first time. So I did have some trouble trying to figure out how to make it do its magic, but we're gonna give it a shot here. So I'm gonna delete that transition, okay? And now we're going to zoom back out. And what we're gonna do, what I need to do first is I need to oops. Sorry, I'm not used to this program, so I just zoomed back in. Mouse cursor, there we go. All right. Let's just invalidate the timeline here. Let's put the BMP first and the clock AVI there. Okay. And I believe in just like basic software-based Premiere, this would still work, I want to say. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, because even this part isn't showing up, the AVI here. All right, so Premiere just can't play this AVI. Just can't do it without rendering, right? So let's get rid of all this, all that crap, and let's go to import. And let's get our 2 AVI files. We're going to put, oops, I put the hype 1 here. And the hype 2 there. Let's just scoot that forward. Okay. Now, the first thing you'll notice is, you know, it's just working, right? Like it's just playing the damn file. And I don't know if I did something wrong before, but it didn't even seem to be able to play just the file by itself. This, on the other hand, look at that. It's just absolutely instantaneous scrubbing. This was a huge deal. Oh, this was such a big deal. Instantaneous scrubbing was mind-blowing. Nobody had this. So, I remember reading a Usenet testimonial from somebody who'd gone to one of the shows and seen a demo of this. Yeah, this is from 1998. Somebody went to a show and saw the pre-release version of this thing, and they said that instantaneous scrubbing was just blowing their mind. They couldn't believe it was possible. All right, so that's if we hit play here, you'll notice that now the real-time performance monitor says it's playing these frames. So these are actually going through. The card is actively involved in playing all this, right? Now we go to the top of our transition box, which you can't see because it's being covered up by the damn, there we go. And at the top of the box, we have Nitro Magic, which is for a card we don't have, then we have Real-Time Magic. So let's go ahead and take that. And now we get a whole bunch of transition modes. So we're just gonna go ahead and pick this one. And I just realized why my previous editing attempt didn't work. The problem is I've got these backwards. I need to transition the other way around or it's gonna wind up with the wrong video on the track. So give me a second. I'll put that there. Put that there, put that there. I think this is how we do it. All right, now let's put our real-time magic transition back. Okay. And now what's supposed to happen, let's see if it does. It's just supposed to do it. Oops. I did it wrong, everyone. Everyone, I did it wrong. Put those back the way they were. Maybe I had it right the first time. Oh, man. Like I said, I'm new to this. Nobody judge me. All right. Oh, that doesn't work either. What? Huh. Well, maybe what I have... Maybe there is the fact that I haven't cut this, so maybe it's noticing that the other image is never going to become visible. So let's razor that. You know, the other thing I noticed is that the transition is very, very long. I think it's just going to pop from one to the other. Oh, okay, sorry. The transition is working. It's just very, very, very long. Whoops. There we go. And look at that. Yeah, let's make that a little bit shorter. Just like that. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Yeah, baby. And the footage is from the mid-2000s. The editor is from 1998. Let's go ahead and take a look at our analog output. And, of course, it's doing the same thing over there. Just like that. So this in 1998 was magical. Magical. Well, okay, Joseph. Yes, that's more or less the right response, but I do want to mitigate it a little bit. What was special about the video toaster, which I need to stress, the Amiga version existed at this point, the Windows version did not, and that matters because the Amiga version was, let's see, it was analog only, it did not speak component. So I will say that by 1998, the option of using the video toaster was really starting to look long in the tooth because people were working with, Betacam SP input and output. They were working with a component all over the place. They were doing, high quality digital copies of things and stuff like that, and have been doing so for quite some time. And the video toaster was still based on the original 1990 platform. I'm sorry, that's not true. They had produced the Video Toaster 4000, I think it was, but it doesn't matter. It's basically the same device. So for all intents and purposes, the Video Toaster only works with composite video. And yes, it is only normally a real-time device, a real-time like live production device. They have a thing called the Flyer, and I need to be honest, I do not know how it integrated with this. It is possible, I really don't know. It is possible that the Flyer would allow you to, I know it was a hard drive based NLE, so it is possible that it would let you do pretty much this by piping the two video streams to an analog converter, then into the video toaster card, and then doing the mixing in analog and capturing the result. I have no idea. Maybe it did that. So, 312, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice you're right. It does say 312.12 on the lower third. So yeah, I'm sorry. This probably is that probably is accurate. 2012 seems likely. I've not paid attention to the content in these videos at all. It's just something to put on the screen. But anyway, so the video toaster was not intended for what we're doing here. It may have been possible they fully kitted out rig to do something like what we're doing here, but it would not have been as high quality. It would not have run on a modern computer. Keep in mind that the Amigas that the video toaster was using, they aged very, very quickly. So by 1998, there's a very good chance that most Amigas that were still around were getting very long in the tooth and starting to basically, you turn it on, it wouldn't work. You then have to turn it off, take the case off, pull all the cards and put them back in. It started to get bad really fast, and nowadays that's certainly the case. If I were to drag in my Amiga 4000 and turn it on, there's a very good chance it just wouldn't boot, or the video toaster software would just crash until I basically shook it. So, it was just a very old device. It was not up to this sort of shenanigan, and actually the video toaster NT, when it came out a little bit later in 1999, was capable of doing this, but offhand, I don't think it spoke component at first. No, I think that's false. If you had the Bob, it would speak component, I believe. So, anyway, there was competition. I want to be clear about that. There was competition, but it was from Matrox. It was from True Vision. It was from companies that you haven't heard of, certainly in the last 15, 20 years, because this used to be a niche market, whereas these companies were over in their area doing their thing and selling like 90 units a year total, whereas New Tech was over in their corner doing a completely different thing. And when they finally finished it in like 2001, made something that was actually saleable, they also sold like 90 units a year, I'm sure. But they were just two very different markets. So the video toaster started as a linear editing, it started as a live production appliance. It could also be used for linear editing. If you had two VTRs and then a third VTR, you could pass both signals into the video toaster and take the output into the third VCR, and you could do transitions, fades, transforms, etc. Just like any other, live, video effects unit. But with the addition of the Flyer, it became a non-linear editor, and I've not used the Flyer, so I don't know what it was truly capable of, but I get the impression that it was relatively modern. Anyway, all right. This is fantastic. Everything's working. I'm super happy. I don't know if the machine's going to continue working. It may blow up just like it did before, but the fact is that it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And I want to stress that what you just saw it do, this is what it does. Just that. That huge card you saw with all those FPGAs, it does this. It takes two video streams in a proprietary format only, and performs a series of transitions between them. That's it. It's not quite true. It's a little more. You can also have a static graphic, exactly one. So let's test that. Let's see. Steve. I don't know anything about the Avid Cinema card. but probably. I think you're probably right, because Avid was also in this space. I don't know what they made as far as standalone cards. I know that the Avid Media Composer, if you're a patron, you'll have seen my video about this. The Avid Media Composer was pretty much this, just bigger and older, because they started making them in like the mid-'80s. But it's essentially the same concept. You have a card whose job is to take two videos in probably a proprietary format and mix them with various transitions. And that's like 95% of its job, because that's 95% of video production. It's just doing that one task. You go from A to B, and a little while later you go from B to A. And the one other thing you do is you put titles on the screen. So there were a lot of cards that could do this, released between like 1985 and like 2008. When computers had just become overwhelmingly fast enough to do it on their own. And they all pretty much did that. 2 video streams, a transition, and then maybe a title or a graphic layer. So, oh, okay, Steve, I did not know that was you. Sorry. Geez. Let's pop over to bonk. Let's pop over to the overhead here. All right. So I'm told that we can put a single graphic on its own layer. So let's just try, I don't know what the restrictions are. Let's just try like winnt.bmp and see if it can just overlay that. It looks like it did it. Oh yeah, look at that. But ostensibly, if we then do one more layer, oh, we got to manually add a layer there. It's not like modern NLEs. How do we do this? Do we do project, create? How do we add a layer? Will it let us? Maybe we're limited. Maybe we actually can't. Maybe this just doesn't let you add a layer manually. Maybe that's just not a thing in this version of Premiere. Like, I honestly have no idea. I have very little experience with it. That's not it. Wow. Like, I know that normal Premiere would let you do this, but maybe real-time has actually gimmicked it so you can't. Might need to read the help file. Oh, Quicksilver, is that how it works? Oh, okay. It's really funny how a lot of people on here, I probably have talked to you elsewhere, but I have no idea who you are. Sorry. The internet. Geez, can we... Yeah, I just don't know if I can add another layer here. Let's, do we have a help file? We do have a help file. Okay, let's... It's not called a layer, it's called a track. I'm remembering now. Let's go to... whoops. Let's go to index. Tracks, adding and deleting. Okay, the timeline can normally support up to 99 video and 99 audio tracks, so click the triangle below the timeline window title bar. Is that it? Oh, there it is. There we go. So we add one video track. Okay. Now, will this just automatically stop working? Nope, it's still happy so far. But now let's add one more. Still seems happy. Let's try adding a different image. Or actually, let's scoot this a little bit. Interesting. Interesting. I was under the impression this wouldn't work, but, you know, maybe I misread. Oh, you wrote me the Acronis Live Media email. Yeah, that was fascinating. Well, at any rate, yeah, by the way, for context, my Discord is no longer open access. I once in a while invite people, but I straight up, I'm telling you that, don't ask. The answer won't be yes. If you get invited, you get invited. If you ask, you almost certainly aren't going to. I have too much social anxiety. I had to shut the Discord down, so I just add people once in a blue moon. Okay, supposedly this will also do titling. And to do that, we have a thing called Title Deco, which is a dedicated titling program. And I don't know how we're supposed to use this. Do we do it from... I know I drug a title deco file in here earlier, and that just worked, but I don't know how we create one from scratch. And supposedly this is supposed to be cracked, but it doesn't appear to be, the crack didn't appear to take. Well, I'll have to figure that out. Anyway, so this being a title generator, basically you could make arbitrary text and probably graphics. That usually, yeah. Title usually refers not just to text, but to any associated artwork that it'll be floating on, and sometimes just artwork on its own. But so, for instance, there we go. And you always get these nice, rich styles. It's like CSS2, the sequel to CSS. Let's add some text. Oh, is there a? I think is there an input caret there? Nope, doesn't seem to be. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's make that a little bit smaller. How do we do that? It's always fun learning how a new... Oh, wait. Each of these... It's always fun learning how a new graphics or editing program, like vector program, works. It always catch you by surprise. This one's kind of strange. Wow, this has some really strong the more you know energy. Now, we can't even right-click on this, it looks like. How do we bring this? Sure, we got to bring this to the front. There we go. Okay. So now we should be able to save this and then import it into... Why? What? Why can we only see the C drive? What? What is that about? Huh. Concrete, yes. It's been weird. It's been weird. I had a friend tell me that they were talking to someone the other day, and the person was like, "Oh my god, you know cathode ray, dude? Wow, you're so cool." And they thought that was very strange. I think that's very strange. I don't know what to think of that. That's pretty weird. Am I upset? Well, people can be strange, So I like it when it's to my benefit, but at other times, boy howdy, it could be stressful. Okay, so when you drag in a title deco file, it opens title deco and minimizes it, and now I'm guessing it's going to be like sort of married to Premiere. Yeah, look at that. That just appears right on there. So that's certainly being accelerated. And my guess is if we open this here and then we change something. Oh, weird. Oh, it opened title deco, but it didn't open the file in question. Well, that's strange. But I'm guessing that if we open this and we change something, how do we do that? We go to face. There we go. You select, wow, shader. And then, oh, that's how we do it. Okay, we select that. Let's make that green. Oh, wait, that it doesn't, like, take effect in place? Oh, that's weird. So like I was saying, like, there's just really, every graphics package is just so different. There we go. Okay. Now, if we go back to Premiere, it hasn't taken effect yet, but if we save this... Oh, wait, there's no save option here anymore. So I think this is running in integration mode. Oh, nope, there we go. I was like sort of in a nested object. Okay, now we can save it. And I would think that this would update right away. Okay, you gotta back up and go forward again. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Now, I will point out, pardon me, just a moment. Okay. Let me just point out, look at this shape here, this circle. I know the camera's at a bit of an angle, but still, look at that circle, and then look at this circle. They're different aspect ratios. So Steve made the point earlier that NTSC uses non-square pixels. I'm pretty sure those are different aspects. I'm looking at it now. I wonder if that's true. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's squished. Because I think that's like 5.4 and 4.3. And yeah, well, yeah, I know it's not literally a circle, but still, it looks more squished. There, that's more of a circle. Let's save that. Also, you notice that it's alpha blended. right? Can we make this preview image bigger? Actually, can we put this in single window mode? Yes. There we go. That's a little better. Oh, that was weird. You see that? The title disappeared for a moment. Oh, right. Oh. That's interesting. So right now we're getting the output from the real-time card. We're getting the analog overlaid output. But if we click over here, it reverts to Premiere, and look at that, the title deco disappears. So yeah, it appears the title deco is being matted in hardware. Now, can we fade this in? I think the only way we can fade this in is by using a... See, this is where things get interesting. I don't know if we could fade in this title. Like, this should work. Oh, right. Shoot, because we're starting out on... Okay, so we would start here. Oh, no, right, because that's... Hang on a moment. How do we do this? Because we're not actually transitioning that. If we transition it, we're going to lose the original footage, right? Which, I mean, there's a, Right, we have to trim this manually. Like, I know I'm stumbling through all this, but can I just point out that look how fast I'm iterating, right? I'm just slamming right through. Make an error, try something else, instantly test it again. That's an interesting point. Huh. Okay, so let's address that. So Panlandis asked, what if we set one of the colors to the color that uses for chroma key? So you see that blue whenever I click away? If I click over here, we get a flash of blue there. As far as I know, this is literally doing chroma key. Like, it's looking for a hot blue and using it to mat in the video. And so one does wonder what would happen if we embedded that blue. I also wonder, now that I think about it, just realized that's an always on top window. What if we were to set the color of a grayed out title bar to the blue that it uses for matting in Windows? I wonder if we can get it to shine through. Let's find out. If we didn't just crash the machine. Oh, it's having trouble. If you take a screenshot, it just shows up with the hot blue. So, well, whole machine's hung. Ruh-roh. No. Oh, there we go. All right, let's try this again. Thank God. I was going to say, if I ever reboot this machine, like, non-gracefully, I know it's just going to blow up. So, all right, inactive title bar. We're going to pick this. We're going to set this to the hottest... Wait a minute. Oh. Woo. Oh, my God. The card's engaged right now. I don't know how this happened. I tried to get it to do this earlier. It didn't work. Look at that. Oh, man. Well, there it is. It's chroma keying. Woo! Oh, that's so good! Oops. Oh, man. Oh, look at that. How cool is that? That's so awesome. Is this the hottest blue I can get? It doesn't look fully saturated. It's not. There we go. There we go. Oh, there it is. And it's definitely doing it in the analog domain then, because we get partial keying. Oh, yeah. Can you see that? It's very faint. It's very faint. Oh, this rocks. I was not able to get this to work the last time I tried it. I think I've got it wedged in kind of a state. Oh, that's so fun. You know what? NT4 does not... I don't think it includes solitaire. Oh, bummer. I wanted to play solitaire over the video. Yeah, I think it's solid.exe, right? Hang on, let me go to Windows Setup. Add and remove program. Oh, there we go. Hell yeah. We may not have been able to OS2, but boy howdy, were we able to Windows. We Windowsed real hard. We're still Windowsing. And yeah, it's literally just using the whole... It's using like the intensity of the blue channel, I think, because you know what? You could still see it. Holy crap. If you look close, see this shadow right here? Huh? Focus. I'm going to turn the brightness up a little bit here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. So yeah, it's a very liberal chroma key circuit. Apparently this is using a chroma key from, oh geez, what's the company? Auravision? Something like that? I think it's Auravision, like A-U-R-A. Could be wrong. But basically it's using an off-the-shelf third-party overlay card. So, oh, we can't change the background color. I thought you could. Oh, that sucks. Wait a minute. Are the cards getting matted? No, those are just the edges. Ah, shoot. Oh, can we change the card back, though? Deck? Oh. Oh, I don't think there's anything that really... Oh, there's some business going on there with a couple of these, but I don't think enough... Oh, no, it is there. You can just see it. It is there. Oh, that's so fun. What about, do we have any other, do we have any other video games? Minesweeper has no blue in it. I don't think Freecell has much blue in it. I don't think we can change the background color or anything. Nope. Nope. What about, we can hack the game, but I don't have the tools for that handy. What about Pinball? Anything? Oh, that's full screen. I mean, that should work, right? Because it's happening in the analog domain. Oh, it's struggling. Oh, the machine is hung right now. I hope this was not a bad decision. Well, I think we've seen what we're gonna see. So, wow, that was a lot of fun. That was really, really cool. Yeah, I didn't expect to. I didn't expect to get that far. Let me tell you. It looks like it works perfectly. I'm gonna have to do some more research. I need to scan in the book. I do have the book, but I need to digitize it so I can learn what this is supposed to be capable of and test out all the features. But the overall, the thing clearly works, at least until Windows NT corrupts itself again. But the hardware seems to be fine, and the next time that Windows NT corrupts itself again, I'm just going to do a complete wipe and reload. It won't make much difference, but at least, you know, whatever. Anyway, the SCSI drive works, clearly has the throughput I need. Yeah, there you go. So I can make a video about this. Cool. I think what I need to do, if I was gonna do this right, what I would do is I would get an iMac DV and stack these up next to each other, because I'm under the impression I could have sworn that an iMac DV with like the original iMovie could do more or less what this just did without rendering. I could have sworn. And the math there makes sense because I know it was doable on Pentium class hardware. You could take D1 video, and as long as you had a card that was helping you decode it, you could and put it into memory, you could mix that video in software on like a Pentium, like 166 or 200 with or whatever the top end of that line was, at real time. So I know it's doable, and my strong suspicion is that Premiere absolutely could have done this without it could have done the basic video playback for sure, and it should have been able to do at least some transitions. I really think that this hardware is a solution to a problem that shouldn't have existed. I think it really is just software inefficiency because roughly contemporary with this, InSync's Speed Razor, I think, was able to do just what we were doing in real time with only a decoding card, which was the early Video Toaster NT card. Now, the iMac did not have dedicated video decoding hardware unless there was just something intrinsic to the G3. I don't think there was. And any talk at the time about the G3 being massively more performant than PC CPUs, it wasn't true. It was more or less true in a few fairly synthetic tests, but for the most part, what made the Mac better, if it was better at the time, was just better code quality. So I'm going to reset the machine. It's clearly hung. So, let's see. It's an interesting question. We're going to see if this machine can boot again, or if NT corrupts itself. Anyway, the DV question is interesting. Oh, okay, the G3 had vector extensions. All right, that may have helped, especially because, again, the DV format, which is what let me say this right. So the iMac DV was sold with the understanding you were going to edit DV on it, right? Now that's a lot of bit rate, but like I said, it's starting Windows NT setup because I forgot to take the CD out. It's a funny thing. They didn't add the press enter to start setup until Windows XP, I think. I want to say. I don't think 2000 had it. Might be wrong about that, but so for a while, if you had the Windows disk in the CD-ROM and your machine had El Torito boot support, then it was just like having a floppy disk of the drive. If you didn't take it out, it would start up into the installer. Really irritating. Anyway, I don't know whether the iMac DV could do real-time compositing in iMovie, or whether there was some delay, whether it could do it, it might have been half frame rate for all I know, or something like that. I don't know whether it could do it with MPEG or MUV, or if it could only do it with DV files. So it is possible that they used the G3's vector extensions to load up a little baby DV decoder. 25 megabits is a lot of hard drive throughput, but not a lot of bus throughput, and it seems reasonable that as long as you can get it off the hard drive into memory in real time, which at that point seems practical, I can believe the CPU could handle it. But I don't actually know. It's the sort of thing that the impression I get is that it worked, but impressions are often wrong from this era. Okay, so the vector extension is rolling on the G4. So yeah, I'm really curious if the iMac DV could actually do it. I don't have a G3. I have two G4 Macs, so that doesn't tell me anything. So I might have to track down an iMac DV in order to do this video justice. But that'd be pretty cool. I would really like to, because I think the iMac DV came out in 1998 or 99. I think it was 98, wasn't it? Could be wrong about that, but basically, it would have been the most direct competitor. Certainly, based on the Usenet posts I found, what this was doing was apparently revolutionary on the PC, so I have to assume that nobody had really seen anything like this. I also do know that there were real-time cards for the Mac, so everything must not have been hunky-dory over there, because Matrox made the RT Mac, for instance, which does exactly what this card does. It just did it 2 years later, in about 2000 or 2001, I think. So things must not have been peachy if iMovie could do DV editing in real time. It must have been either very limited or absolutely restricted to the DV format. This is a really interesting avenue to go down, I think. I'm going to have to look into this. Oh, okay, late 99 for the DV. Okay. Well, all the same, this card was first being demoed in 98, the card that's in this machine, so I think I'm okay with saying that maybe nobody actually had it till 99. So maybe there was like a 9 or 10 month gap there. I don't know. But I'd be willing to say that they were pretty contemporary. So I think if I want to do this video justice, if I wanted to make a proper video about this topic, what I would need to do is to get a contemporary late 99 PC and do some research to find out what people were using for video editing in the software domain at that time. Adobe Premiere obviously is pretty sad, but I wonder if something else, maybe early, I think like Sony Vegas or something before Sony acquired it, may have been out. So there might have been alternatives that maybe did better. So I should look into that. And I would want to get an iMac DV ideally. Failing that, maybe a G3 Tower, because they should be relatively equivalent. And okay. Oh, and the G3 blue and white was also 99. Okay, interesting. So, wow. In that case, at the time this came out, very possibly nobody had ever really seen this done on a PC before. Sorry, any PC in the general sense, any kind of personal computer. So, yeah, I think this was ahead of its time. I think it's a pretty impressive card. I don't know how much it cost. I want to say a couple grand, maybe a little bit more. I don't remember if I got I think I was looking for a price. I don't think I found a price. So, at any rate, I'm glad it works. It's going to be a bit before I can make a video about it. But the primary reason I was doing these streams, well, besides the fact that, you know, you folks are paying me, I should let you in on what I'm doing. You know, not just sit here like, maybe I'll throw you a bone someday. You just sit there and wait, and you'll be lucky if you get something. I should probably, you know, try and produce more content. And at least, you know, this is something where I don't. A lot of the trouble with, like, I tried to get myself to do like patron videos, and what I realized very quickly is that it takes as much effort to do a patron video as a normal video. It's exactly the same amount of effort as far as like brain space. You know, it could take me 3 days of lead up to making a proper video for my main channel, during which I'm just completely paralyzed. I can't do anything else. It's like I'm sitting at home like, well, I finished writing the script, but I can't shoot the video for another day and a half, so I'm just going to sit here because I can't think about anything else. Turns out the same thing happens with patron videos. No matter how simple they're supposed to be, I'm still sitting there going, well, how should I do this? How should I play this? How should I, you know, etc. And so those end up consuming a lot of resources, and then, not to sound ungrateful or anything, but I post them on Patreon. I don't really get much response. It makes sense because the ratio of watchers to, you know, watchers to commenters, etc., is already pretty low, right? Like 45,000 people watch a video and 1,000 people comment, which is not, you know, unusual for me. Well, that's way less than 1 in 10, you know, so way less than. I'm bad with math, but it's not a lot. Anyway. I was 1 in 45. What am I saying? What am I thinking? Jesus. Anyway, so you take that and you multiply that ratio by like 250 or 300 views, which is typical for a patron-only video, and yeah, you're not really going to get much interaction. And the thing is that I do this, I get tons of interaction, right? And I'm producing something people can watch. It's not patron exclusive. Nobody seems to care about that, so if everyone's happy, then I'm happy, and at least this way I'm like getting a lot more done, because yeah, if you're trying to make a finished video of any kind, then you can't really get anything done while making it, right? You're gonna spend hours producing the video, but you have to have done all the work ahead of time. Every time I've tried to make a recorded video about something that was not yet working, like here, let's try and record the process, it was always a disaster. So what I like about this is it's a disaster that people are willing to watch and enjoy, apparently. So yeah, hopefully I'll do more of these. I like the setup. I think the PTZ camera is a game changer, right? Because if I was doing this without the PTZ camera, I would have to have Daria in here moving cameras around. It would just be a miserable. I'd have to be going to break all the time. You know, with the PTZ camera, it does exactly what I wanted. This has been great. I just want to put 2 more in here, right? You know, hang one over there and maybe put one right here so we can get a straight shot onto some. You know, just put these damn things everywhere. Trouble is, it turns out that the 3 PTZ cameras I got in that eBay deal that I was really happy about, they're not very good compared to the Value HD. They're just not nearly as effective. So I have another one coming in the mail, but I don't think I'm going to be able to use it necessarily, certainly in the short term. It's not going to be nearly as convenient, if nothing else. And then I'd have to get a couple more of those, and then I'm kind of stuck with these other ones that are kind of broken and not that great to begin with. So anyway, yeah, to wit, the studio is becoming a studio, right? Yeah, exactly. You know, that's you think of a studio and you're like, oh yeah, you're gonna have like lights and mics and cameras everywhere, right? No, what I have is there's one camera here and there's another one floating around somewhere, and I just sort of move them around and I temporarily set them up on a tripod and I put them away, and the rest of the time, like you'd be shocked at how limited my resources are here as far as that stuff goes. So anyway, but the moral of the story is that this has been fun and productive because now I can get this machine put away. It's been sitting out here because I wanted to get it working. I'd had it for some months. I finally got the software for it from Panlandis, and I wanted to get this machine working and like dispositioned before I button it up and stick it in a corner and pile stuff on it so I can pull it out. You know, I'll pull it out later, but in the meantime, I need it to be a thing I can stack stuff on top of. But having put some of the effort in, I didn't want to stop and then have to remember what the hell I was doing 6 months down the line and start from scratch. At this point, I should be able to pull this thing out and just use it. So, thank you all. It's been a blast. I don't know when I'm going to do my next studio video like this because I don't have other projects like this on the docket. So, just like the last two, it'll be completely random. So, I'll see you there. Everybody, have a nice Friday, I think. As they say, bye.